Western South Florida is an international destination for travelers, but investigators say it's also home to one of the largest human trafficking epidemics in the country.
And Local 10 investigator Amy Viteri went along with investigators working to crack down on the problem.
She spoke exclusively with women who say they were lured into being commercially exploited for sex.
You know, I met this man, blah, 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 you know, told me about how nice life could be.
Unfortunately, Miami has all the ingredients for a disastrous recipe for human trafficking.
Don't believe everything you say or you hear. Anybody can sell you a dream.
Women who tell me they were lured to Miami only to find themselves commercially exploited for sex. The booming tourism and sex entertainment industries in South Florida create what investigators call a perfect storm for human trafficking.
A lot of promises and a lot of lies.
Sasha Harris says that's how she got here. Others were too afraid to show their face.
I thought I was supposed to come to try to make my life better.
Hours before sunrise, we rode along with Miami Police Commander Jose Alfonso.
How many girls got in? Just one?
Just one.
Just down the block from popular downtown nightclubs, we saw women selling sex on North Miami Avenue at Northeast 11th Street. But Alfonso says if you look closely, there's a fine line between prostitution and sex trafficking.
The vast majority are going to deny that they're being commercially, sexually exploited by anyone.
We watched as these young women got into a man's car. Police followed and eventually stopped that car on Biscayne Boulevard.
Relax, we're here to help.
At first, the girls say the man was just showing them around. But minutes later, one shows us condoms in her purse and says the man picked them up for sex. Alfonso says fear often keeps victims from asking for help, but these girls agreed to talk with us about both the fear and manipulation.
My life is already stripped away. He done stripped my family away from me. I have nowhere to go now.
How'd you get involved with him? How'd you meet him?
The girl says she met a man online who convinced her to come to Miami.
Did he beat you?
Something like that.
What does something like that mean?
Yeah.
How'd he beat you?
She managed to get away just a week earlier, but she's alone here and says at one point she's afraid she'll be killed.
If you want us to go back and look at this guy for exploiting you, we'll be willing to do that.
With our camera watching, she's too afraid to say more. For investigators to charge someone with trafficking, they have to prove force, fraud, or coercion. That is, unless we're talking about kids.
I read at least one report where you responded to an incident where the victim was a minor.
Yeah, quite frequently we get those.
In January of 2015, Alfonso, working with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office Human Trafficking Task Force, helped arrest this man.
Mr. Santana, is English okay?
Agustin Santana, for prostituting a 15-year-old girl in the Cutler Bay area, making $1,000 a day off her. These cases, police say, are just snapshots of a much bigger problem, one that can be hard to see.
Sometimes girls are scared, you know, so like what you guys are doing, that's good.
Amy Viteri, Local 10 News.
According to the state attorney's human trafficking task force in Miami-Dade County, they've closed 268 human trafficking cases, many of those involving minors. Right now, they have 25 open cases involving underage victims.